Hey, so what does it mean to be a case manager in the projects? We see the projects, it reminds us of the jungle in LA or the high build outs in New York or the high build outs in the DMV area in Chicago. And that is very true in terms of the architectural design of them. But what does it mean to be an employee there? A residential services coordinator is a case manager, someone who brings in activities, brings in vendors, and kind of tells the stories to the outside individuals of what's happening inside of low income housing. Low income housing can translate into PBV, which is public based vouchers, TBV, tenant based vouchers, multi mixed below market rate housing, or any type of word that might be used right now because affordable housing is all over the place because of post COVID impacts. But what do you do as a case manager there? How do you fulfill your functions day to day within your 40-hour week period? So, you are the person that comes in and focuses strongly on housing stabilization through programming, through creating a vendor track, bringing in vendors, bringing in those who want to volunteer, and just bringing in activities that will help people age in place successfully, minimize any type of occurrences of 5150s, which means a psychiatric episode and going into a lockdown unit, as well as eating, getting their Medicare, Medi-Cal, getting food stamps, earn income, helping with a job. It's an array of things, but it's low key. You are a social worker in the building for people to successfully age in place or just come from being homeless and living back now in regular housing. There's two things to it. One, it works. Everybody's going to be okay when they're at home. And then it doesn't work because everybody does not want to live inside. And you will say, oh, all these homeless people walking around here, Jay, like, what you mean? How you going to work in housing? I say that. I work in housing, that's why I can say it. Behaviors is why most people are housed. Because the behavior states that I deserve to have shelter and safety in my life. The alternative in that behavior is that I have nothing to lose. I've already lived on the streets. There's nothing you can do differently to me than what I've already done to myself. So I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to bring in prostitutes. I'm going to do drugs. I'm going to fight. I'm going to set the building on fire. I'm going to fight my neighbors. Those are things that cannot always be solved for housing, no matter how much we push. And there are times evictions happen in housing, and it's because it is definitely because that's something that the resident wants to do. And you have to respect that as a residential services coordinator. You have to learn to let people follow and do their jam. And when they're ready to come back, we're going to be here. So how you want to set up that day? How do you want to set yourself in a position to be a case manager in housing? Well, first, you want to go online. Look at your county. Who is being funded? What are they looking for? The big ticket right now is Homekey. Homekey is basically the hotels that did not make money that were bought out by the state and that was used for temporary transitional housing for those to go into permanent supportive housing, Section 8. Why does that exist? There's not enough affordable housing. There has been a long list for Section 8 for several years. And now with the influx of people who have lost their jobs, who have lost a spouse, have lost the income because of COVID, this is a new population that's entering in. And this new population has nowhere to stay. So we have to stabilize them, right? So they're at Project Homekey. There's going to be a couple of things that's going to happen with Project Homekey. It's going to either be refunded or they're going to find alternative housing through tiny homes. What they're doing out here in California, they're doing RVs. It's going to be a whole different way of how we're looking at how to house people. All right, so you're doing that, you're working Homekey. This person is going to eventually come up on the list where they qualify to live in permanent supportive housing, PSH, permanent supportive housing. They're going to be in long-term housing. Depending on who they are, they might have been homeless for a decade. They might have been homeless for a year. They might have been homeless for 6 months. How long they have been homeless is going to 100% dictate how long they're going to be housed and the services that they might need. So you want to see in your city, in your state, if there's a project Homekey, because you're more than likely going to be working with permanent supportive housing individuals. Okay, so you look at that, you want to find who is the affordable housing developer or social services agency that's housing under transitional housing, under street to home, um, and under, I don't know if HOPWA is still out there, depending upon you at, which is housing opportunity for people with AIDS. You're going to look at the functions. The functions are going to be like, do you have communication skills? Do you have de-escalation skills? Are you able to input? Do you have strong customer service? Are you comfortable with working with non-traditional populations? And if that doesn't say it, put it in your resume, those keywords. And then you're going to call. The beauty of affordable housing outside of these metropolitan areas of the Bay Area, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, is that it's new. It's very, very new. Us here in the Bay Area in LA, we've been at it for about 20 years. I said before, I'm almost about to hit a decade in to 2023. I'm going to be at 10 years of working in this industry. And with that, they're going to need fresh ideas. A lot of this came about because of the 80s post-crack epidemic. Reaganomics really was the influencer of low-income public supportive housing. So those key words and those key choices are the words that I just mentioned that you want to put off into your resume. You want to call maybe, or you want to look on LinkedIn. Say, hey, I'm new to this. Having a social work degree, you can have it. It's not going to do nothing because they want non-clinical approach. It might give you a different way, a perspective of working with a resident, but it's definitely not going to be the yay or nay of you getting the job because you have a BSW. I would suggest that you say you have strong customer service skills, strong listening skills, you are able to have strong follow-through and follow-up, and that you work strong collaboratively with the team because you're working with so many city partners. You're going to have to go into so many rules where you're going to be the highest and you're going to be the lowest, and you as a person need to be comfortable with that. So remember, residential services coordinators, home navigation, case managers, associate ASWs, those are the roles that are popping right now here in 2022 and beyond. All right, bye-bye.